This is a series about a topic I'm very passionate about: design and innovation from all over Australia. Design is about problem solving and innovative thinking, whether it comes from large corporations or the little guys. In this series, we're looking for those special, out-of-the-box innovations. Welcome to Australia by Design Innovations. We've gathered a group of Australian and international industry leaders via Zoom, tasked with the job of judging each innovation and selecting our finalists, before ultimately crowning one design project the winning innovation of the series.
It's always great being on this show because I'm always surrounded by people with such different experiences to me, and I think that's actually the secret of success.
There's a fair bit of disagreement about which inventions are really valuable, but in the end, I think we're going to make good decisions.
Let's get started with our first innovation.
Monkey bars, I don't know any kid that doesn't love it.
The Combat Ninja Funky Monkey bars are about as near as perfect can get. This is one of the most original and inventive projects that we've seen in this competition.
They've nailed it. These people are going to do serious business all over the world.
This next innovation comes from a successful small business that has runs on the board for getting kids off their screens and up and about.
Well, it's always all about the kids. Our eldest daughter loved monkey bars in kindergarten and she wanted them at home, and anything that keeps them active and outdoors, we were all for. We just couldn't buy it. We couldn't buy something that Shane didn't need to shovel into the ground. He's not that handy with his hands. The idea was, without shoveling into the ground, that we could have a monkey bar in our backyard that could grow with the kids, and it's kept growing. And it's kept growing.
I thought surely we can come up with a design that doesn't need to be concreted in and can be freestanding and make it easy for parents.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, and we came up with the first design, which was the original, which is the one hanging on the wall there.
Right, was that in your house?
That was in our house, yeah, and we call it the original for that reason.
This one is number 2?
Orangutan and then the gorilla. And basically all of our frames stem from those 3 frames.
Right.
As you know, it's a modular system, so the idea is that parents start with a small frame, and as their kids grow and as they have bigger space or more budget, they can add and add and add to it.
I'm an engineer by trade and mainly mechanical and piping. My thing was to look at monkey bars and redesign it from the start. It was already a concept, Shane already had a model, and then I looked at it and said, I think you can make this better. So we already had a base level which was somewhere around about 8 years old. Well, what happens once they get to 12?
And this is a new one. This is the Combat Ninja for older kids, teenagers, and right into adults. Had family come in the other day, they've got no kids, late 30s, and they brought one of these for their backyard.
This is a component that holds it all together. It's a 120-degree angle.
Right.
Comes up, it gives the angle up, straight bit, and then there's another one down. There's a load of interconnecting tubes into this. It will go into here. There'll be tubes that come this way, and another tube that comes down from here.
It's all part of becoming a parent and wanting to encourage your kids to do something that they're good at and to encourage them to do the things that are good for them.
And get off the screens.
Get off the screens. And it was about the time when screens were starting to take over, and there was the gap for monkey bars that were actually getting taken out of playgrounds for fear of a child falling. And they were wrapping kids in cotton wool. You don't want that for your children. They need to take risk and they need to challenge themselves because that builds them resilience for life.
I am so impressed by the professionalism and the passion of these guys. Not ones to rest on their laurels, they have pushed the boundaries of kids' play even further.
We've gathered a group of design industry leaders to judge some of the best design innovations from around Australia. Which innovations will make it through to the best of the best final later in the series?
The standard of work that has been presented in this series is unbelievable.
We are definitely innovating. A lot of people want to manufacture in Australia and they want Australian made and designed, and that is just beautiful to see.
This composting toilet is a really great way to make quite rich compost for your garden from your own poo.
Composting toilets. I know a thing or two about this topic. And the reason for this is that I live in an off-grid home, actually an off-grid tiny home. So it's just this boat here. It's really a lovely way to live. You're in a city, but you're still within nature. But living off-grid comes with its challenges, which brings me back to composting toilets. So Joe, this is exactly what I think of when I think traditional composting toilets.
Yes, it is. And we wanted to move away from that. We've developed our low-profile composting toilet. Now, I do have to make a disclaimer here before we go any further.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about poo today. Okay. We feel really comfortable talking about poo, but that's not the same for the general populace, which we like to call poo-phobia. You never have to handle poo with a composting toilet.
Yeah.
You're handling compost.
Look, I totally get it.
What we're more interested in, though, is what goes on down here.
Yeah.
That's the really exciting part of the innovation.
Welcome to our test facility.
Well, this looks like an outdoor dunny to me.
Well, it more or less is. It's a thunderbox.
Okay.
I think we should give it a try. What do you think?
It's a bit weird, but okay.
So once you're done with your ones and twos, you grab a handful of this.
And what is this?
This is chopped up hemp.
Okay, wow.
All right,
Okay.
you just drop it inside here.
Okay.
And all done. Close your lid.
So what about flushing?
No flushing. This is a waterless composting toilet. In off-grid situations, water is very scarce. So you're saving 30,000 litres for an average family per year with using one of these.
So Peter, this is back of house, and I hear that you really love this stuff.
I certainly do. I'm a greenie at heart, and this is the ultimate. This is the vent pipe. This actually draws oxygen through the composting pipe, and perhaps this is the most exciting bit.
And what is that?
So this is actually like winding a blind.
Ah, okay.
So by doing that, you're actually stirring the compost pile. This is the mixing mechanism in a composting toilet. Most of your ones and twos come straight down the middle, and they form a cone.
Oh,
Like that.
poo pyramid. So you just want to smear it across the edge?
That's right, yes. We want to spread it out.
Yeah.
So this is the end product. So as you can see, you can even smell,
Smell?
It's just like normal compost.
What am I looking at here?
These are tomato plants that have naturally grown.
So in addition to giving back to the environment, I hear that you're also giving back to the community.
That's right, Sarah. We actually have composting toilets in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
80% of the population in Papua New Guinea don't have clean, safe sanitation.
But not only do they get safe sanitation, I mean, they get fertile soil.
Correct.
This is an exceptional example of innovation on multiple levels. When you design holistically, locally and globally, you can design for the good of the individual, a whole village, and the planet. This really is black gold.
The ARMOURLINE polymer door frame is spectacular engineering. This is good. And the Bundaberg rum's no bad thing either.
Innovation is alive and well in regional Australia. Here, Cassie and Steve, along with their team, Pamela, Keith, Ron and Spare, have found their niche on the national stage.
Our niche is door frames.
Door frames, but in particular in aged care facilities and places like this in hospitals, yeah?
Correct. These facilities suffer an incredible amount of daily damage from beds, carts, trolleys, wheelchairs.
This is not exceptional. This is typical of every hospital door frame everywhere.
Now that you mention it, I'm starting to see it all over. Apart from it not looking great, what's the issue?
Infection control. Once we've got broken paint, we allow infection to get into that area there.
And so your innovation gets past all this?
Yeah, we've created a door frame, a polymer door frame. It's installed one time, never painted, and it's there for good.
The damage that you've seen on the door frames is a problem in nearly every clinical area that we have throughout all of our health facilities. We first saw the product a few years ago, and it was the first time we've seen a real solution to this problem.
So Steve, this is where the magic happens.
This is it. This is our factory.
Now, you were telling me on the phone that you had all these other people.
Oh, look, we have Cassie in the office. We have Ron, the machine on the end of the bench. We have Pamela, the 6-axis robot there that does infection control work. We have Keith, the star of the show over here, that does our welding.
And I'm guessing that's Spare.
That's Spare Child, correct.
So why all the robots?
If we want to build a world-class product, it's got to be computerised, it's got to be robotic. The software that manages tens of billions of different options of a door frame, That's the innovation.
Are you telling me you wrote the whole computer program that runs this whole thing?
Yeah, look, that's correct, I did. We had the assistance of a really good friend of mine who's an old maths teacher, so he was able to school me on how to start.
Ron, I'm just so glad you're not a robot.
Oh, me too.
So Steve came to you with this problem.
Well, Steve realised that to do this problem, it needed technology, it needed the IT.
We're talking door frames. How hard can it be?
There are a lot of measurements that go into a door frame. The order comes in, it's bespoke, the program takes that, it does the design and the information to feed into the CNC machine and into the robots.
We don't want specialists installing, we don't want high cost to install, so we made them so that anybody can fit them.
Well, I'm anyone. How about I give it a go?
Your time has come.
All right, so this goes up here, and I can see that goes in there and on this side too.
Just kick it in at the bottom.
And kick it in.
Yeah.
Wow, it really is idiot-proof.
Time for the final test. No, come on, into it.
Okay.
How'd we go?
I mean, there's not even a mark there.
No.
This is fantastic design where every facet has been nutted out. Steve, Cassie, Keith, Pamela and Spare, I think, are on a winner here.
Which innovations from this episode will make it through to the best of the best final later in the series? Time for our next innovation.
New York, New York, if you make it there, you can make it anywhere. And these Australian innovators have managed to take their technology from our shores and become an overnight success in the US.
As a New Yorker, I had the distinct honor of actually seeing the building and getting a tour of the way in which the technology supports the building.
Our cities and our architecture, they're the cultural fingerprints of the era. In this day and age, that increasingly means smart technology embedded in the bones of our buildings. And an Australian company is at the forefront.
People think of these buildings as just bricks and mortar, but we've actually created an entire digital twin of this building and buildings around it. This right here is the example of the building we're sitting in, which is 60 Martin Place. And you can see we've got an entire digital replica of this building. It's got every single piece of equipment in the building, it's got the mechanical work inside the ceilings, everything you can imagine, and all the live data is all connected here into this digital platform.
So as you come into the building, we've got our Bluetooth technology, which gives you access. And if you're riding into work and using our end-of-trip facilities, you can book a locker.
This is architectural AI.
Absolutely.
This is very much back of the house, isn't it?
It is, but you know, when we've got the back of house in order, it makes the occupant experience much more comfortable. Being able to identify that, you know, there's an air conditioning issue. We use the live data that we're pulling from these systems, and we can then use the digital twin to zero in on where that piece of equipment is, and if it's going to inconvenience a person that might be sitting below that piece of equipment, we want to know that before we have our contractors turn up on site.
This is the digital twin of One Manhattan West. I see there are a couple of red lines. What does it mean? It means there's a piece of equipment that's in an alarm state that requires attention to make sure that it's working properly. What we're now looking at is the 3D view of level 4. We're looking at the architecture, the structure, and we could turn on additional systems like the mechanical system, and we can access very technical data about the equipment so you have all the information that you need at your fingertips to make an informed decision.
We own just under 2,000 buildings globally. Wow. So the opportunity is enormous. And if we get the technology right here where we can decrease energy consumption by 25 or 30%, then we'll be able to take that and deploy it to our other buildings.
I feel as I'm in ASIO sort of surveillance centre, but this is Willow Twin Command.
Yes, this is the platform in real life being used to control a railway network in Utrecht.
So from here, basically, you can control buildings effectively anywhere throughout the world.
Any asset that has data in it, so mining sites, corporate campuses, hospitals, railway systems, roads, that's an application, an opportunity for Willow technology to be applied to those assets.
Over the next 5 to 10 years, places like Sydney will increasingly become imbued with AI, architectural intelligence, and it's companies like Willow Twin, they're adding brains to beauty when it comes to our global cities.
In this series, we've introduced the Planet Innovation Bright Award. Sam Lanyon will select an innovator from the series for entry into the PI Bright program to assist them in building their commercial and technical strategies and connect them with the global partners. The winner of the Planet Innovation Bright Award will be announced later in the series.
Our process is all about really getting in depth with our innovators' problems and actually working with them to brainstorm really great solutions that maybe they haven't actually thought about before.
Still to come, which innovations from this episode will our judges select to go through to the best of the best final later in the series? Time for our next innovation.
I love that these next designers have identified the two main problems with using asthma inhalers, one being adherence and two being using it correctly. And their product really effectively addresses both of those.
Asthma is a worldwide health issue. In Australia alone, it affects around 2.7 million people. I suffered from it as a child, my brothers have it, and my son is asthmatic. So I know the difference this new innovation will make. This is a smart inhaler. It looks pretty futuristic to me, but what does it actually do?
So it's got a bunch of sensors in it, and it measures when the inhaler is used and how it's used. Things like is the inhaler installed or removed, the dose being dispensed, and then it measures things like your inhalation, the depth of your inhalation, the timing of your inhalation. Did you prime the inhaler? Did you shake it correctly? There's two main problems in asthma. The first is adherence, taking your preventative medication regularly and at the right time. So for that, we've got a beeper that will go off at preset times to remind you to take it.
So I could be at the movies and my pocket starts beeping.
So you just take your inhaler and it will stop. And the second thing is using your inhaler correctly. So there's a number of things that you have to get in sequence to get the optimal dose.
Mike, I didn't think it was that tricky. Don't you just kind of put it in your mouth and suck on it?
Yeah, you could give it a go.
Now, tell me this is safe. Tell me this has not got any of your kind of drugs in here.
It's a dummy, so you can go ahead.
It's a dummy. Okay. Mike, I've got a red light. That can't be a good thing.
Well, it looks like you just didn't inhale quite strongly enough, but you also need to shake the inhaler before you use it and hold it upright.
You told me that, didn't you?
Try again.
There we go, green light, Mike. We're on fire. So these are all smart inhalers that you have designed.
Yes.
Quite a design challenge, really. Where it gets really exciting for me is what you do with all that data.
Well, that's where the power of the Bluetooth and the phone app comes into it.
We've developed an app which connects to the inhaler sensors, and it shows the patient how much they've been prescribed of each of their medications and how much they've taken today. It's quite a simple app to use. You can set up reminders to beep on your puffer, or you can get reminders to be sent via a message to your phone. The other important thing is it keeps a history of your medication usage. The data from your app is sent via a secure connection to the cloud, and your doctor can log in to the portal and see how you've been tracking to your medication usage over time. This data can be anonymised from thousands of patients to be used in clinical trials to better asthma research.
This is a great innovation. I wish we had these when I was up all night in an emergency ward years ago with my son. The Haley is one very smart asthma inhaler.
I have a camper van and I can safely say that I hate having water, mud and sand all throughout the van.
Dryzomat is a simple innovation, but sometimes simple innovations are the most practical.
This next innovation may make our life just a little bit easier when we're on the boat or in the bush.
Wow,
Sophie, this is a beautiful caravan.
Thanks, Suze. Yeah, we love it.
Oh my God, it must be fantastic with the kids.
We go out all the time. There's 3 kids. They love fishing. They love riding their bike. So we're big caravanners. We have a combined toilet shower caravan, and we like that because there is a toilet and shower, and the size of the caravan is great.
So you have to walk on the shower to get to the toilet?
That's right. So when the kids are having a shower, the water sort of stays in the area for quite a bit. It's constantly wet. So when the kids are coming in and out of the caravan, shoes on, shoes off, they're stepping into the wet puddle to go to the toilet, and then they're running out with their dirty, wet feet out of the caravan.
So you saw a problem and you needed a solution. So then you just go, oh, forget it. We're just going to have to put up with what we've got.
Oh, no, that's not my husband. He was going to find a solution.
We started with a ductboard, is what someone suggested. Because it comes in a standard size as this, we needed to cut one in half to sort of take the area up. So every time we needed to have a shower, this would then go up against the wall outside of the shower and just drip.
Right.
And started to rot and started to stain our van. Decided to ring Australian distributor of caravan parts. I wanted a mat that stayed in the van, folded up when I'm having a shower, and then folded down once I finish having a shower. And she said to me, love, there's nothing on the market. That's a great idea. You should come up with that.
This is the dryzer mat?
Yes. So it has suction caps on the bottom.
Right.
There is absolutely no metal in this whatsoever, so it can't rust. It's got a hinge, which is a plastic hinge, which is flexible. So basically sticks to one side, folds up when you want to have a shower, and then once you're done, it folds down.
I have to ask you, do you have any design experience?
Zero. Funny thing, I rang a good friend of mine who brings a lot of stuff over from Europe, and he said, there's a place you can go to turn your ideas into reality, and that was Form Designs.
So we put it on paper. We conceptualise it, we get them back in, we make sure they're happy with what we have come up with. If they are happy with it, we move along the process to getting prototypes done. We test the prototypes, make sure they fit, make sure they work the way that we intend it to work. We follow along the process further and we get tooling made. We get real samples that you can be quite rough with, and we test it in the field, and when you're ready, go into production.
This design has come forward really quickly.
Yeah, it has.
It's only been 12 months.
It's a very simple idea, and it's the simple ideas that always well, in my opinion, are the best, really.
I love the simplicity of the dryzer mat. It's a really smart design solution. It's practical and robust. Perfect for your caravan, your boat, or even your dogger.
And now let's find out which of our innovations our judges have chosen to make it through to the top 10 final later in the series.
The fact that the monkey bars have ended up being chosen to go into the finals, it just reinforces everything I've thought. These people have really done an amazing job. I think they deserve to win. It's spectacular.
I have had episodes over the years where I've had to use an inhaler. Having a device that actually lets you know how much dose you actually get and how deep the inhalation is really does help to make life better.
Congratulations to Combat Ninja by Funky Monkey Bars and Smart Inhaler, and good luck to you both in the finals. Join us next time for Australia by Design Innovations. For more information on any of the innovations featured in this episode, go to australiabydesign.com.au.